Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw Daddy Hour, hosted by yours truly, Raw Daddy himself. You already know this is Grandma's favorite podcast, so get your ass in here and watch too. I want to introduce you guys to my guests that I have on my immediate left. I have Miss Brittney Marshall, and then you already know, come on
Holding
now.
it down on the left
Shad
side.
been holding it far left for as long as we can remember. Brittney, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Let them know a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm Brittney Marshall. I'm born and raised in Houston, Texas. I'm a model, dancer, influencer, entrepreneur. I'm happy to be here.
She does it all. So yeah, today, guys, we're going to be talking about work culture and how both of our generations are the generations that never sleep. We work 24/7, and we want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. Do we feel like this is a good thing? Is it positive? Or is it going to be something that we're going to regret later? So, Shad, I'm going to kick it to you first. What are your thoughts on work culture, man? How does it affect you? And
Man, the grind never stops. The grind never stops. I mean, I guess I feel like now it's more cool. I feel like it's more cool than ever to hustle, to have your hand in different things, to work on multiple things at one time. I think it can be beneficial, but at the same time, I definitely believe that there needs to be a work life or personal life balance, because doing a lot of different things and never sleeping can have its negative impact on just your health and then your personal relationships and things like that. So got to find a balance. But I definitely think that where we are today, a lot of people are, overworking themselves. I do think we're a little bit overworked.
Brittney, what's your relationship with work culture right now?
I agree a lot with him because I have a lot on my plate, as I shared with y'all. It's definitely hard sometimes, but I feel like growing up in this generation, we see everybody hustling, so we think, okay, well, I need to hustle too. But at the same time, we don't see what everybody else is going through. We might think that, okay, we have to do all this, everybody else is hustling, I gotta hustle too. But then also, our mental health is being, sacrificed. And sometimes, we probably think, oh, this isn't meant for us because, we might, depression, anxiety, all that's going on. But, everybody is probably going through something like that, similar as well. So, I don't know. I feel like we do need to find a balance with that. And, yeah.
My relationship with work culture has definitely in the past been very toxic. I am a person who, when I want something or when I want to go a certain way, I go all the way in that direction. And early on in my work career, so I started working at 14, so early on in my work career, that was the thing. I was like, you know what? I'm going to grind my ass off. I'm going to retire by 25. I had all these crazy goals. And there was no balance. It was just, what is Brent doing? He's working. Oh, I can't do that. I got work. I got something I got to do. Even when I wasn't being productive, I just felt like if I wasn't working, then I wasn't taking any steps towards the goals that I had set out. I would say this year, or maybe the last 2 years, was probably the first time that I tried to put a hard stop on just constantly working and constantly pushing off this and pushing off that, not having many friendships and not doing anything because I'm like, no, I got to work. I have this podcast I want to get out. I have this video that I want to finish. I got a short film I want to write. And I came across a video one time, and I'm not one for the self-help videos or anything like that, but I just came across, it was this short video where this guy was basically talking about you sitting down and really analyzing how many of your hours are actually productive work hours. Not how many hours a day you work, how many hours of those hours are actually productive. And what I learned about myself was that a lot of them were not productive. A lot of them were spent with me just trying to, look the part. I'm sitting in front of the computer screen trying to, type some stuff out. I don't end up using it, but it made me feel good. It was a placebo effect of if I'm doing this, I feel like I'll get that, right? And his suggestion was, if you can only work 4 productive hours in a day, like let's say you're an entrepreneur or towards your goal, if you can only have 4 productive hours, then maximize those 4 hours and then stop. And so I started to take heed to that. I was like, okay, I'm going to set a realistic amount of time in a day that I can do work. And then the rest of it, I'm going to find other things that make me happy. Because what I realized was work was not the thing that was making me happy, right? Recently, me and Shad have started going bowling every single Wednesday, right? We don't miss a day, all right? So if y'all think it's sweet out here, we don't miss a day, all right? Every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. It was one of those things where I wanted to get back into creating that sense of community and having that work-life balance. We don't talk about filmmaking while we're there. For those of you that don't know, me and Shad work together almost every damn day. We don't talk about anything filmmaking related. We just bowl. Get very competitive, but we just bowl. And I think that's something that people, at least in our generations, don't do. Everything is work related. The cameras are always there, right? Because now we have so many influencers. Oh, we're gonna go bowling, but everybody bring your vlogging camera. Make sure you have your mic on it. And you never get to spend time with self or just with your friends, right? And so I do think that for me specifically, or for people who are like me, work culture can be something very toxic and drive you down. I went through depression multiple times trying to do this, because then when your life is only about work, your payoffs are only reaching certain goals. You don't have anything else in your life that is a positive, right? It's just, I got to get to this next goal. I got to check this box. And when you're not able to do that, and the only thing you've been doing is working, you have nothing else to go to. So that's when that depression and stuff starts to set in. So for somebody like me, I've definitely had a toxic relationship with work culture, and we're still figuring things out. We're in counseling right now. Like, we're still trying to figure out our relationship, because I am that extreme type of, I'm very like, I'm gonna dive all the way in. I don't stick my toes in anything. So yeah, for me, it's been like, one of those things. But Brittney, you are not only balancing the work stuff, but also the school stuff. How has that experience been for you?
It's been pretty hard, because I would say I'm not a school person. I love to learn, but like taking tests and just being compared, to your classmates, all that kind of stuff. Like, I just feel like that's not what as humans are here on earth to do, like I said, like the learning aspect, like I love, but being given grades for like what we do, or like what we know, like I think that's just something that the world, and it's always been there, but it's something that one day hopefully it will change. Like I feel like we weren't, let's see, like growing up in school, like we have classes like science, math, reading, writing, but we didn't have many creative classes. Yeah, we had music, art, but that was only for like 30 minutes a week. Yeah. But nowadays I feel like social media and stuff has brought that out. Like, we can all express ourselves more. And I feel like that's something that more traditional people need to kind of get used to, because like they say, yeah, we have to work 9 to 5. Like, you have to go to school, get your degree so you can get a job. But it's like now, like you see people can get jobs, like creative jobs, like y'all do, like photography, filming, modeling, like just anything like that. And that's something I want to do. Like, I know growing up, my parents, like, of course, like, we want to go to college. I want to go to college. I went to college. But my mindset back then was way different 2 years ago. Like, yeah, I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to get my degree, and I still want to get my degree, don't get me wrong. But now, like, I'm starting, I found myself, and I found like my passions and like what I want to do. Like, I want to do creative work, and inspire others to do that. And of course, like, I'm still going to get my degree. It's always going to be there. But like, I want to use my like energy, my drive right now, because I'm just going, and I'm scared that like if I just like graduate and like do something in like the field with my degree, that it would just all stop. And I'm just afraid that it's going to stop. I don't want my creative drive to stop. So I don't know. It's been pretty hard, like balancing school and like my work outside of school because, you know, school is my priority right now. You know, like I need to get my degree. And of course, I want to make my parents proud and everything. So that is my main priority. And then, of course, I have my dance team at the school. So that's my next priority because I have to meet all those requirements, responsibility, also being captain. Like, people are looking up to me and they like expect me to, you know, to fulfill like my duties. So that's that. But then of course I'm trying to like squeeze in everything else I want to do on the side because that's what I'm really passionate about. Like I don't want to lose my passion, you know. That's very important to me because why are we here if we're not, you know, doing something we're passionate about? So yeah.
Shad, I know you're pretty good at the balance. I mean, at least as of late, I know you're good with the life balance. You do a good job of setting boundaries with certain things. How did you get to that point? How did you, you know, what counseling did you and work culture go through, man, to kind of, you know, get on good terms?
I don't think it's anything that I did, to be honest. I think my journey to adulthood kind of played a role in me being able to like have that separation. So like when I was in high school, I didn't have a job. Like I didn't start working until I didn't get a full like not even a full time. I didn't get a job until I went to college.
Oh, word.
When I went to college, and I didn't work while I was in college. I ran track. Over the summers, I had an internship. So I was majoring in engineering at first, and every summer when I would come home, I was interning at this engineering company. So that was the only form of work I had up until my senior year when, again, just during the summertime, I worked for like a turfing company. When I graduated, I was pursuing professional track and field. So I moved down to Florida. I was only working part-time. I was 20 hours a week, and I was just training outside of that. So like honestly, my first full-time job wasn't until was 25, 26, you know? So like for me, and even when now that I'm thinking about it, even when I started full-time work, like I was coaching track. Like I was still competing and I was coaching at the same time. So I didn't really look at it as work per se. So when I got into education and started teaching, I had stopped running. So for me, having the balance, it was like I go to work, I do my thing. And at this time, I wasn't doing filmmaking or anything like that. I was just like a regular person, I guess, you know. So I would go to the gym, do stuff that I enjoyed doing, and that was that. I would say probably trying to have that balance, trying to figure out that balance was more so when I started doing photography and filmmaking as a business. And then it became a thing where it was like, I'd be at work and I'd be editing a video when I'm supposed to be like doing something with kids or something like that. Be in the cut, editing the video. Like, Coach, what you doing back there? I see you editing. So
getting the plays together, bro.
But I mean, when I got to that point, it was like the balance really kind of just came from, and again, like the filmmaking, the photography, like it was more so of an outlet for me. I never looked at it as like it was like work, you know. I think if I looked at what I was doing when I started it as like a job or something that I had to do to make ends meet, I think I would look at it at a bit differently. But when I started doing photography and filmmaking, like I would only take jobs that I wanted to do. So it was like if I didn't want to do this project, I wouldn't take it. So I had that luxury. I know there are a lot of people who don't have that luxury, who have to work multiple jobs and still pursue their creative, aspirations and things like that. And again, like here's the thing. If you are passionate about something, like you gotta put that work in. It's like, I honestly feel like it's no working around it. Like, you got to put that work in. You got to lose sleep and put those 8 hours into that thing that you want to do, even though you just came from doing 8 hours at the place you ain't want to be. But you got to have the mindset like it's a means to an end. Like, I'm gonna grind this out I'm gonna eat these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'm gonna work these 8 hours on top of the other 8 hours for a year. And at the end of this year, like, I want to be here, and I'm gonna leave that other thing behind. I think you gotta, like we talked about, self-awareness. You gotta have that self-awareness and be realistic with yourself and honest with yourself and say, like, this has to be a means to an end. Because if you let that keep going, you're gonna find yourself in this like a miserable place. Like you said, you want to do creative stuff, and I know a lot of people who are like this. Like, you want to do creative stuff, but you're trying to, meet expectations of others and trying to make other people happy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people aren't able to let that go and end up doing something that they don't want to do. And it's hard, but I'm low-key kind of jealous of like Gen Z culture, like that generation, because it's accepted now. It's accepted to, to want to do creative stuff or take the unbeaten path. When I was coming, I was like, nah, you go to college.
I started in engineering too.
College is good things, but college is a terrible thing. I think from a financial aspect, from like education wise, like doing stuff that people be in college don't even know what they want to do. Like, you're wasting money and time. Like, what are we doing?
I had about 6 majors though.
Yo, that's crazy. And then even looking at grade school, like when the last time you used that trigonometry equation that you had to learn? Unless you were like a scientist or you want to be an engineer or something like that, bro, that stuff don't apply. Like, why am I learning this? You should be like you said, putting more. If you want to be a filmmaker, if you want to be a model, if you want to be something outside of, the jobs where the jobs where you need that kind of like knowledge and assets, fine, learn that stuff. But give us, give kids other courses, give people other courses and options that are going to better impact their lives when they graduate. Business, people who want to do business, you should be doing financial literacy classes when you're in elementary school, middle school, like you should be learning that stuff. So when you graduate, you have the knowledge in order to run your business. You don't got to go to college to start a business. Why are we pushing people to go to college when you racking up $100,000 in debt, and now like the national debt is out the roof over people going to college and not knowing what they want to do just because my parents want me to go to college or it's the socially accepted thing to do. So that's why I'm kind of jealous of you guys now, because it's like I feel like more people are foregoing college and just really just going ahead and getting to their dreams, getting to the bag, and I wish I was afforded the opportunity to do that, so.
And to your point, to hit on a couple different things that you said. The first piece being you didn't start working until later, and then you just had a full-time job, and then you went home. You did the things you like to do. You went to the gym, you went to the movies, all that stuff. I feel like with your comment about Gen Z foregoing college and taking this unbeaten path, taking this other way, I feel like this other way doesn't have a template, and that's what promotes the work culture. At your job, you prioritize what you can get done in 8 hours. If you can't get it done in 8 hours, what do? We do it tomorrow. Or we come back on Monday, right? With this side, there's no template. There's no awareness for what can I do tomorrow. You always feel like I got to get everything done today.
Yeah,
I got to do 13 shoots today. I got to get all this content. Look at my feed. I need. So I feel like that's where the conversation needs to be had, is like having that ability to say like, okay, today I'm going to do these 3 things. I'm going to start my LLC. I'm going to do my vision board for the year, and then I'm going to, make a call to a bank so I can get a loan. After I do those 3 things, what else is important, right? I think, I don't know if this was when I was in college or if it was a business program that I did, where they gave us this worksheet, and it was like 4 boxes. And one was like what needs to get done in the next 5 days. One was like what needs to get done this month, this quarter, and then this year. And what that did was it kind of like opened my eyes to like, I don't need to rush to finish everything this week, right? I don't have to put in 24 hours today. That is not necessary. And I know you mentioned losing sleep. Sometimes, yeah, I agree with that. But a lot of times we do it to say we did it. We worked through the night just to be like, yo, I pulled a hard night last night, bro. I was editing. That shit is trash, though. You went back in the morning and undid everything you did because you were tired. You couldn't function properly. So I think not having that I hate 9 to 5s. Don't get it twisted. I would never want to work for somebody. My goal has always been to work for myself. But I also am aware enough to know that there's no template for this. It's hard to figure out what can be put off because you feel like you're not doing enough or you're not doing anything, or, you always get these, people always say this, like entrepreneurs and athletes say it a lot too. If you're not working, somebody else is. If you go to sleep, somebody getting those extra hours of work in, and you like, no, they ain't. I'm going to do it. Let me get this energy drink. I remember one time I was editing a video, and me, Travis, John, we drank like 7 energy drinks, bro, to like try to finish this video through the night. I misspelled shit. Like the video sucked. And we sent that to the client. She was like, yo, what is going on? All because we wanted to like, show that we're hustlers. We can get done quick. We can, work through the night. And that was the worst piece of content that I probably ever sent off to somebody and had them send it back like, yo, I need you to fix this.
Yeah.
So I do think there's a lot of conversation to be had around limits, boundaries, expectations of yourself, because you being an influencer, model, dancer, all these things, your expectations come from you. You look at your feed every day. We look at our videos every day, and we set our own schedules. We figure out, like you said, what jobs you want to take, what jobs you don't want to take. So I do believe that that's probably the biggest thing that plagues us. And then, like you said, the social media aspect where you're looking at, they hustling, so I got to hustle. If they hustle to get there, I got to hustle to get there. So, Brittney, what would you say is probably the most difficult piece? Now, putting school aside, right? Mm-hmm. We're just going to talk about the work portion, right? You're modeling, dancing, and all of that stuff. What would you say has been the biggest struggle with growing that, right? The time that was needed to put in to grow that?
Well, with school aside, probably, that's a hard question. It would probably just be like the expectations I set for myself, I guess. Because I can always say like, oh, I want to do this, then like I'm going to be here at a certain time, but we're not always realistic, Like I always wanted to be signed by agency, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I want to be signed by December. That didn't happen because, of course, like I have other priorities, but I wasn't putting in that time to research, like dig in deep and like how am I gonna like stand out, to others and stuff. But like, not even with the agency, like I feel like I have grown a lot as a model, but it's also has a lot to do with my confidence. Because I, like starting off, I was not confident like in what I was doing because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like, I want to be a model, But like when I do set my goals, like I do like go for it. I put everything into that. So, I feel like my confidence has helped a lot. And I feel like it shows more like on social media and to like others than what it like feels inside, because I might say that like I'm confident and like, I'm acting like I'm confident, but like on the inside, I always like have this insecurities, like we all do. And I feel like that does kind of hold me back sometimes, because I feel like there's a lot more that I could do, but yeah, it's just like, sometimes I might compare myself to other people, like, oh, like I don't look like that, so I won't be able to do that. or because that my height, like I mentioned, like
4'9".
to you before, yeah, I'm not 4'9". I'm definitely 5'2.5". But
Shit,
I
throw that
really
half.
Run
give,
it,
give me every
and a
all my
half.
inches.
I could be 5'3" if you want me to. In heels, I'm taller, but
I'm
but
standing on a stack of books. I'm even taller.
but yeah, I sometimes I tell myself like, oh, you're too short to do this, you're too short to do that. But at the same time, like, I just need to go for it. Maybe I can be the change, because our world we've become so much more diverse, and I feel like the industry should as well. It's done really well with like race and ethnicity and culture, but I feel like image is also something, and like height, like we can't change our height, like we can't do that. Like, yeah, people can change their face, their look, but like we can't change our height. And I just feel like, I don't know, like, yeah, I feel like
So
it should
pulling
change.
on, I want to pull one of the things that you said out of that when you said you think a lot about the things that you can't do, right? And I think that's another thing that kind of gets us in a spiraling motion is we're so focused on, like, okay, for example, if you wanted to make a movie, you're like hyper focused on the fact that you don't have the right camera. So you're like bugging out. You're, oh my God, I can't do it. I don't have this camera, so I'm da-da-da. But you're not putting more effort onto what you can do, right? So maybe height is a disadvantage for, certain types of modeling, but maybe it's an advantage for something else that you could maximize and, like you said, stand out, be different. I think that also plagues our culture in terms of, like, once again, trying to figure out this path. Like, we're paving it. That's the one thing about it. We're paving it so that those behind us have a nice, fresh sidewalk / road to walk and drive on. And some of the things that we're going to have to figure out is just, once again, where we put importance. So, Shad, I want to ask you, like, what are some things, like, now you've taken filmmaking on the business side. So now it's less about what I want to do and more about what I need to do. How do you go about figuring out what's important?
Damn. I think when it comes, and again, this is from a filmmaking standpoint, I feel like it would be a bit more difficult in other areas, but like, obviously when you start it as a business, like when you get into the business aspect, there are, things that you do that you don't want to do. But I think there is a way to find some balance in saying to yourself that I'm going to kind of like limit those type of jobs or those type of, things that I don't necessarily want to do, and try to find more clients that my visions and my aspirations and kind of the stuff that I want to shoot align with a bit more. I think that kind of will help with it not being such a drain. I also think that just setting aside time to do things that you are passionate about in the field. So like, we kind of talk about it like, passion projects. Like, for me, like, there are certain things that I like shooting, and a lot of times you can get into the habit of, when you're taking on a bunch of projects and then you just start putting your stuff to the side, and it just starts getting buried underneath a whole bunch of stuff that you don't want to do, and next thing you know, you be like, you're burnt out, so just saying to yourself, hey, maybe once a month, like, no matter clients or anything like that, like, I'm going to execute one thing that I actually want to do. And I find for me that helps rejuvenate me, because I won't lie, I have been in those ruts where I'm doing a whole bunch of BS projects, and it's like, what am I doing? But then as soon as I do something that, I enjoy doing or shooting, I just feel rejuvenated. I feel like that creative burst come a bit more. And again, going back to, the work-life balance, I feel like it gives me balance within my workspace. So just trying to think about applying that to like someone who has a normal corporate job. I mean, I don't really know how that would apply, but I think once you leave, like you said, like you have that template. Once you're outside of that template, leave the work at the office and try to do stuff that you like to do.
I could speak a little bit to the corporate side.
But here, before you go there, because I know you kind of said like the not sleeping and kind of putting, when you have something. So let's say like I want to start some type of business. How do you see allotting time to put towards that? Are you one that prescribes to that you should be putting more time into your own personal thing than you are the 9 to 5, or are you kind of just like, I'm just gonna put in what I can?
Definitely put in what you can in the beginning.
Okay.
So you're speaking to someone who works a 9 to 5 and wants to start a business. So yeah, I feel like put in what you can put in that's productive. If you can put in another 8 on top of the 8, do that. But if you realistically only have 4 great hours in a day that you can put into this, I feel like that's more valuable, because once you get to those unproductive hours, I feel like you're doing your business a disservice. I feel like you're going backwards on the 4 great hours that you just put in. Let's take this podcast, for example. We could shoot for 12 straight hours, but will I come out with 12 good episodes? Probably not.
Man,
Exactly.
We're
so
gonna be here asking questions like this.
I could shoot it, but is that gonna do the brand that I'm trying to make? Is that gonna set it apart from other podcasts, or am I just gonna look like a dude that filmed 12 episodes? So I kind of look at it like that. It's like, be realistic, and every business is different. If you're a thrifter, you want to start a thrifting company, then you're limited within what that is. If you're trying to start a filmmaking company, you need to be fresh. We can't do jobs off no sleep. Like, that's not a realistic thing. So for me, I'm more along the lines of put in what you can, set realistic goals though, and be productive within that space.
So here's my next question, and this is for you specifically, because you and I know that you're someone who likes to go fast.
Yep, I am.
You like to go fast.
I definitely do.
We're complete opposites. Like, I'll be like, all right, we're gonna take our time. Brett be like, nah, man, we gotta get there. And I know you're not the only person who is like that. What do you say to someone who feels like they have to go fast? Like, because I'm thinking about it from a person like that, where I done put in 8 hours at my job, right? And I come home, it's 5 o'clock, and I only say to myself, I can only do 2. I put in 2 hours, and then from 7 or 8 till 10 o'clock at night, I'm sitting watching Netflix. Do you think you're doing yourself a disservice by doing that? The time you spend in watching Netflix, do you feel like you could be putting that towards building your business?
No, and I'll tell you why. I used to think like that. I definitely used to think like that. And I am a firm believer now. I didn't used to be. And I move a little slower than I used to.
You definitely do.
I'll put that
you definitely
out there.
do.
I move a little bit slower than I used to. I did used to want to sprint everywhere. And it came from my distaste for working for people. Like, I hate it to my core. And I'm not Dame Dash about it, but I definitely don't like it. But the reason why I disagree with that is because, and I'll reiterate, I need that Netflix time just as much as I want to put in time for my business.
Okay.
If I don't put in that Netflix time, I'm not happy. So now my business is not going to thrive the way that I need it to. It will show in my work, it will show in my performance, and it will just show in my mental health. I feel like that's where I drove myself into depression in the past, was just going hard, and you're really just going hard at yourself at that point. So no, I do believe that if you can only put in a good 2, put in that good 2, and yes, you deserve to watch a show. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a part of life too. I think what work culture does, it gets people feeling like all I can do is work, or I'm not worth anything. You can watch a show. That's important. If that's important to you, like for me, it's important to me. I watch a movie almost every single day, a new movie. That's important to me. And when I stopped doing it, just like how you want to do a passion project, I felt like I wasn't giving myself that reward for all of this work that I was putting in, right? So And yeah, if you can only put in 2 a day, then it might take you longer than somebody who can put in a full 8. Maybe you're just, age plays a part in that too. Like maybe you just don't have that type of energy to be able to put that type of work in. But I think that goes to goal setting. I used to suck at goal setting. I wanted to quit in a week, and that just wasn't realistic, So understand that, yes, okay, if you put in 2 hours a day, then all right, you're going to take longer to get to that 10,000 hours than someone who puts in 8. But don't feel bad that you can only put in 2. Because if Netflix is important to you, then that should be ingrained into your life. Like how bowling is important to us now. Like that's now ingrained in our lives. It's like, no, you can't get me to miss a Wednesday because I need this. So yeah, I am more on the lines of like, okay, now, I didn't used to be. If you'd asked me this last year, I probably would have had a whole different answer. But today I would say no. And then to the corporate point, because I was formerly a salaried corporate manager who had to work a bajillion hours. And one thing that I wish I would have done, and that I wish, but I don't know if it is in other places, but I wish it was more normalized, is set boundaries at work. Setting healthy boundaries with your work. Once this task is completed, I am done for the day. One thing that happens, because I wasn't in a 9 to 5. Like you get tasks done. Like you just work, you manage the little business. Is you finish a task, they throw another one at you. You finish that one, they're ready. Like they got them. They making it rain on you with just tasks, right? But it's on you to set that boundary to be like, okay, I'm not working 70 hours this week because we don't need to get all of this done this week, right? So on that point, that is kind of like being a business owner in a sense. Like that was my first taste of like being a business owner. So for people in that more corporate realm that, have these overbearing bosses, have that conversation. Like we had in a podcast a couple weeks ago about mental health days and being that fresh, great employee and being able to, pull your weight at work, you have to set those healthy boundaries. And sometimes they're going to be uncomfortable conversations, and it might not be the workplace for you. That might not be the place that you need to be if they're trying to constantly push you to work at a pace that you cannot work. And it's okay to leave and go do something else. So boundaries when it comes to that corporate stuff, because they will just keep giving you stuff. You never say anything, they will continue to give you tasks. They're not going to be like, Brent worked 10 hours today, let's let him go. No, he's ready for the next one. We need you to, can you check on this? That doesn't have to get done right now, does it? If it doesn't, then don't. If you have the ability to do it, fine. But if you don't have to do it right now, don't do it. And that's what I've subscribed to, right? I could easily not go to bowling on Wednesdays and do more work. But what is that going to do for me in the long run? One of you guys mentioned burning out. I've seen so many people burn out recently, especially because of COVID. People have been creating content like fucking crazy. And a lot of them have burnt out. I've been seeing people make their little YouTube posts and their IGTV posts. They're like, yo, I just been going nonstop trying to get y'all all this content, man. I'm burnt. Can't do it right now. So that's real concerns. But no, yeah, I watch your Netflix. Go and get your Queen's Gambit on. I recommend Queen's Gambit 10 out of 10. Go and get your Queen's Gambit on, watch your shows and, do your thing. Brittney, have you ever felt like you were burnt out with your modeling stuff? Because I know you trying to make it happen. Have you ever felt that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
How do you deal with it?
Well, good thing I have my parents to tell me that, because sometimes like I'll think like, no, I'm just, I'm loving it, because like I loved, book modeling jobs, dancing jobs. It's just something I'm passionate about. So sometimes I don't really, like, I'm not self-aware, like, oh, maybe this is being like draining on me, because like I'll come home and then I'll just, won't. I don't know, like kind of like what they're saying in the last episode about, like, what is it? Like you're working so much so that you don't have to think about, what's going on inside. It's an escape, but sometimes it's not healthy, and you need that time for yourself. But yeah, I have my parents there, thank goodness, to like tell me sometimes like, hey, you need to slow down. Don't book as many jobs, or don't like do as much. Like still do it, but don't do as much. And it's kind of hard because I'm a hustler. Like I want to, get to the bag, like I was saying. But like our mental health is also very important, and we have to, be careful with ourselves, because we don't want to burn out.
What do you do as a mod? Because I'm always interested to understand what models do when they, like, what's the thing that brings you back, like, from feeling like you're burnt out? You just do like normal stuff, or do you try to or you try to model in different, like, maybe you just do a lot of swimsuit, maybe you do something different, like what's your thing to kind of help you get out of that burnout state?
It would probably be doing something that like I'm passionate about, like something that I would like to do, like a project. You know, like
I
you
got
said,
you.
like a project that like you really want to do. Mine is like I love fashion and stuff, so maybe if I find like a cute outfit, like I want to, shoot. That's probably something that like that gets me out of that, because sometimes like I get asked to do jobs that I might not want to do, but I'm like I just need to do it. But at the end of the day, it's like, is that really going to benefit me? And so that kind of helped me like narrow down like the jobs that I do. Yeah.
Shad, what are some things that you do outside of filmmaking that you feel is a non-negotiable? Something that's like, I'm not skipping this because if I do, my mental health is gonna take a hit.
You already know.
Yeah, I do.
That gym.
Yeah.
That like, ball is life, gym is life. But seriously, and we had, the debate that we had, in our group chat. For me, like, the gym is like my escape, has always been my escape from just like stress and just like all the craziness that may be happening in my life. Like, that's where I go. Like, I literally can spend 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. If I'm just like, sometimes I just go in there and I'll just, like you do, like I'll just sit for like a good 45 minutes to an hour and just have my headphones on, listen to music, and just think, process things. And I do my workout, and then a lot of times like I feel better when I leave the gym. I feel accomplished. Bowling is another thing that we started more recently. Like you said, we go there, and I didn't notice it until you just said it. Like, we don't talk about, you might bring up maybe a little small thing, but outside of that, we just focus on the moment, cracking jokes, bowling, the competition, and that's what it is. And then outside of that, like, I'm another one. Like, I like, I watch Netflix. I'm one of those people. I don't watch it as often, but when I do watch it, like, I binge. And that's kind of like my thing. So I'm a simple person. I have like just those small, like a small amount of things that I do to kind of like give me that balance that I feel like everyone needs. And they're non-negotiable. Like, somebody try to schedule a meeting or something like that, I'm like, listen, they got to be pushed back, or, I can't do it this day, because those things are like, I got to have them. If I don't, I'm going to be all over the place.
Brittney, what's some stuff you're interested in outside of modeling and dance?
Outside, well,
That's life.
Exactly.
yeah, it's literally life. Well, dance is life. So like,
Yeah, I know.
I guess
dance is life.
outside of like my dance responsibilities, like being on the dance team, like I like to go take classes because dance is my escape. Like when I'm feeling like just overwhelmed, I need to get just something out, just let go. I go to a dance class.
You dance in the rain?
Dance in the air?
In the rain.
Oh, I was like, yeah, I
with a
dance in
little
the air.
sink.
Oh, I would love to dance in the rain. I feel like I did once. Yeah, but outside of modeling and dance, like I said, I love fashion. Like, I love art. So, like, my saved on Instagram and like Pinterest is just all fashion.
Okay.
But I would love to like design stuff. Like, I'm trying to start a business, and I would love to like design clothes and stuff like that. And also music. I love music. Like, who doesn't? Cooking. I like to cook a lot. Well, I can't really cook right now. I have a lot going on with school and stuff, but it's definitely one of my other passions. But yeah, and hanging out with friends and family, of course, because that's what life's all about. So
I was and this was actually a filmmaker, right, that I was watching, and I have a filmmaking example and then a music example. Setting business hours, right? So as entrepreneurs, we tend to just work random ass hours, and what that leads to is, like we said, not that that schedule, and you end up having meetings at 10 p.m. and 9 p.m. You on the phone for 2 hours with a client. It's like, God damn, man, I could have did this tomorrow, right? So they were talking about setting business hours. And then another industry, music, who's plagued with the same stuff. People always talk about being in the studio till the morning. I was listening to Akon, right? He was talking about the first time that he was in a recording session with Eminem.
Oh, bro.
And he was like, he said he called up Eminem. He was like, yeah, bro, let's get a recording session in. He's like, all right, bet. I'm here till 5. Like, I'm at the studio till 5. Akon pulls up at 5:30. Eminem is leaving. And he was like, yo, what's up? I thought he was going to get a session. He was like, I'll be back tomorrow at 9. Like, you gonna come tomorrow at 9? He was like, all right, bet. I'll be there tomorrow at 9. He said the dude got there at 9, took a lunch break at 1, and by 5, he was wrapping it up. And Akon was like, yo, what's the deal? Like, why are you doing this? He was like, bro, I give it the time I'm supposed to give it, nothing more, nothing less. Like, and now I got other stuff to do. Like, I want to go enjoy the rest of my life. And that is my final message to the people, is there's so much more to life than just the work that you're doing. And if you don't indulge in it, you will get burnt out. You will fall into that depression. So have those few things. I'm not saying like neglect your whole shit and just try to, only have fun. But you have those few things that they're non-negotiable. You're not going to stop me from going bowling. You're not going to stop me from pursuing fashion. You're not going to stop me from going to the gym. Like, we have our things that we have to have, even if it's, I want an hour of silence. I want to, I know something that I do that I know a lot of people do it, but I probably do it a little more extreme. I like to sit in the car for like a good 2 hours when I first get home from wherever I'm going. I will sit there, chill. You know what I'm saying? Got the music still playing. People walking by, I'm like, what you want? I'm going to sit here. You deserve that. You deserve that time. You've earned it, right? Give yourself a break. And that's my final message for the people, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Raw Daddy Hour. Grandma, you've been holding us down. Appreciate you. All right, y'all should be tuned in. And let us know how y'all feel about it in the comment section, man. How has work culture affected you? I want to thank my guests, Brittney, Shad, for coming on. I really appreciate you guys. And we'll catch you in the next one.